Hello, welcome to Knuckle Sandwich. We're back. We have a great card this weekend. We had a great card this last weekend. Max Holloway still has it. He called out the Korean Zombie. There's a lot of good fights, and we're gonna break down some fights this week and break on and talk about the changing of Charles Oliveira and Benel Dariush and who they're going to end up getting for that co-main event.
All right,
Welcome.
excellent. All right, welcome, everybody. So we're going to start off with the bottom of the card. We're just going to run through these pretty quick and then focus on the main card, and then we'll talk about those amazing Max Holloway and some of the things coming up because I think it's pretty cool. So anyway, this is a fight night, and it is April 22nd. That's at the Apex in Vegas, so they haven't had one there for a minute. They've been out, going to stadiums and different things like that. So that's pretty cool. But this one is going to be 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So it's a great card. There's a lot of very competitive matches, I think. So we'll start off in the very bottom. We've got Brady Highstand and Bat Gurel Dene at the bantamweight bout. And then we have next up, we have Priscilla Cocheria. I think that's how you pronounce her name. And Irene Silva for a women's flyweight bout. Both of those are Brazilian fighters. We also next up have Francis Marshall versus William Gomez featherweight bout. And then the next one that I want to touch on a little bit, Nando, is Mohammed Usman, who we haven't seen for a minute. At a heavyweight bout versus Junior Tafa. What do you got?
Mohammed is 34, 8-2, 4-5, Rufus Sport. He had a win over Zach Paga. He's fighting Junior Tafa, 26, 4-0. This is his debut. He's an NTG Fight Fitness, and he fought on Risen. So our Ryzen, however you want to say it. So I mean, this is going to be very interesting. They're not gonna put Mohammed to the wolves yet. I mean, there's not super a lot of heavyweights in that weight division as it is, and everybody that's there is kind of moved their way to the top.
Okay. Now I think I've seen Junior fight before. I think it's a great matchup, even though it's his debut. And it's no walk through the park for Usman, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think Usman's got big old hands. I mean, it looks so slow, but he knocked out Zach. So, I mean,
like that, baby. That's Usman. Only 2 miles away. They're like, you remember those Incredible Hulk gloves that you could get? Yeah. That's what he's got.
He moved his head and still got hit.
And next up, we have Carol Hosa versus Norma Dumont. Another bunch of Brazilians fighting there, the women's featherweight. And then another one that I'd like to make a comment on, Nando, is Ronnie Yaya versus Montel Jackson. What do you have on these two?
Ronnie Yaya's 38, 28-10, 3-5, 2 wins. Montel Jackson's 30, 12-2, 4-5. Red Schaefer MMA 3-fight win streak. Get out of here. Yeah, Ronnie Yaya has been around forever. He started in the WEC. I mean, I was supposed to look up if he fought in the WEC when I went to go see them, but yeah, he's been around forever. I was surprised to see the name. I didn't know that he was still fighting.
Oh yeah. He's I don't know how many years, but he's old school, and he used to be feared, as far as his ground game and jujitsu. Nobody wanted to go to the ground with that dude, man. But you get older, time catches up with you. But I'm glad he's still fighting. I think that the reason why he's still in the UFC also is because he's pretty entertaining when he does fight because his grappling skills are so good, He never really developed his ground game his stand-up game, in my opinion. But
Yeah.
if he got you to the ground, there's a high probability you're going to get submitted. And last on the prelims, we have a lightweight bout between Ricky Glenn and Christos Giagos. And they're both Americans fighting each other, so that should be a good fight. Now let's move on to the main card, because we got a lot to cover, you guys, today. And don't forget, like and subscribe, share our content. We really appreciate it. We have, at a welterweight bout, we have Jeremiah Wells versus Matthew Selmsberger. And what do you have on these two gentlemen?
Jeremiah Wells is 36, 11-2, 5-fight win streak, Extreme Evolution. He fights Renzo Gracie's camp, wins over Court McGee, great ground and pound left hook. Matthew Selmsberger is 30, 11-4, 3-5, crazy 88 MMA, wins over Jake Matthews. Jerky movement, purple belt, and Muay Thai. He lost to Alex Moreno. He's a heavy hitter, and he has a very awkward style. So I think it's going to be interesting. Like the Jeremiah Wells fight over Court McGee, I was very surprised how he, and he looks like a lot older guy. He looks like somebody's PE coach. Like he's just a very older guy. But he hit so hard and so fast, and his wrestling's really good. I watched a fight that was in another organization. He's just really, really good.
Well,
this is gonna be a good fight.
I think you brought up a good match of him and Court McGee, because Court McGee's hard to get out of there, man. He's just hard to get out. He's also been around for a long time, but he's one of those guys that just keeps coming. And Jeremiah Wells, I was shocked too, because I had picked McGee.
Yeah.
But, the dude is cut. He looks good, super strong. But then you got Matthew Selmsberger, and who was that you said he beat? Another Matthew, something Matthews?
Jake Matthews.
Jake Matthews. And that dude is tough. I mean, that was a good fight. I saw that fight too. And everybody was, well, I remember, as a matter of fact, that Jake Matthews was favored in that fight. So that's pretty interesting. But that dude showed up and showed out, and that's going to be a telling fight. Very, very good. Next up, we have the women's flyweight bout, and that is Isamine Lucindo versus Brogan Walker. We have Isamine is from Brazil, and Brogan is from Guam. What do you got on these two?
Isamine Lucindo is 21, 13-5, 4-5 in the last, 4 of the last 5. White House lost her debut. She has shoot boxing. She likes to circle. She's smaller. Brogan Walker, 34, 7-3, 205. Her camp is purebred. She lost to Juliana Miller in the tough finale. She's win, then lost. Aaron Blatchfield, Pro Gonzalez, a win over Maverick. She's fought really good people. Jiu-Jitsu black belt, great grappling. Was flat. I think she was a little flat on the finale. I think a lot of people favored her, seeing that Juliana Miller was like kind of new, had 3 fights like professionally, but Juliana Miller just took right over her, and the longness of Juliana Miller. So hopefully Brogan Walker wins this fight. I think she's got everything. She was married to a military guy. That's why she's in Guam. But I think I would go with Brogan Walker.
Okay. Well, let's back up, since we're picking on the main card. And before we start picks, Nando, let's talk about last week's picks.
You won.
You got those?
Yeah, you won. I think you knew that.
How many did I pick?
You had 7, I had 5. I did horribly.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go with Jeremiah on this last fight.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Selmsberger.
Okay.
I think that's a good pick. And then you're gonna go with Brogan?
Brogan?
I'm gonna go with Lucindo.
Uh-oh. He's gonna win this week.
All right, next up, we have a man who's about to legally change his name to King. Okay, that would be Bobby Green.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he said he's legally going to change his name to one word, King.
Oh, I thought it'd be King Green. I was like, that sounds good.
No, just King, like
Yeah.
Prince.
Prince.
This is a lightweight bout, and he's fighting Jared Gordon, who last fight he lost to Paddy Pimblett, which was a really good fight. And they're fighting that lightweight bout. What do you have on these two? And what's your thoughts on the fight?
I like the fight. It's good. Bobby Green's 36, 29-14, 205. Pinnacle MMA lost to Drew Dober, Islam Makhachev. Aggressive, punching, great scrambles, defensive wrestling. Has bombs and loves it. He goes all out there. So Jared Gordon's 34, 19-6, 3-5, Kill Cliff FC. He had a loss to Paddy Pimblett, but a lot of people thought he won that fight. Renzo Gracie, MMA. His grandfather was a boxer. He has great boxing, purple. Believes he beat Paddy. I think this is going to be a stand-up fight. I think Bobby's got crisper punches. I think Jared Gordon kind of telegraphs a little bit too much. And Bobby Green's seen everything. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see how this kind of plays out. But I think Bobby Green has this. But both of these guys are gonna. I mean, age-wise, they're good. I think Jared Gordon can beat Paddy Pimblett, but not Bobby Green. So style-wise, I think Bobby Green's way better.
What did you say the age for Jared is?
34 to 36.
36? Okay. So now was Islam Bobby Green's last fight? Didn't he fight one more time after that?
No, I think his last fight was Drew Dober.
Oh, Drew Dober. Okay. Yeah, because he lost two in a row, right? Islam and Dober. Okay. Yeah, that was a good fight. I like Dober. I like Bobby Green too, or King, as it's going to be.
Yeah.
But I think his fighting style is super unique, and it's cool because he knows how to use it. He throws his hands from the hips, man. I mean, his guard is down because he can move his head. He moves his head quite well. And if Jared Gordon, as you say, is a little bit slower, it's gonna be hard for him to tag Bobby Green. And Bobby Green's going to jab in and pop out and move that head back and forth. Going to be a lot of movement. I think Jared Gordon is going to have to plod forward and try and trap Bobby Green in order to win this fight. They both have power, that's for sure. And I think if Gordon can trap Bobby Green, but he's going to have to muscle him against the cage because Green moves too much. And I don't know, like Gordon had a hard time trying to get Paddy Pimblett down on the ground. You know what I mean? And speaking of that, you know how a lot of people said they think Jared Gordon won that match. I think he was winning it, but then he lost it in the last 2.5 minutes because all he was doing was holding up Paddy against the cage and wasn't doing anything. And I think that didn't favor him in the judge's eyes, even though I think if he would have kept pushing and trying for takedowns or throwing punches or whatever, he would have won that fight. But I think that's what killed the fight for him is he just was, I don't know if he was gassed or just wanted to play it safe. I'm not sure what the deal was, but that's what I think cost him the Paddy Pimblett fight, because that would have shot him to superstardom if he would have beat Paddy Pimblett.
Yeah.
So I think if Gordon can trap him, it's Gordon's, but I'm leaning heavily towards Bobby Green just because of his movement and his quick striking. I think the jab is going to be the telltale on this fight. So is that the first one we agree on?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, by the way, that's a lightweight bout, in case I didn't say. Next up is another perennial fighter. We have Brad Tavares versus Bruno Silva at middleweight. And what do you got on these guys?
Brad Tavares is 35, 19-7, 205, extreme couture. He had a loss to Dricus Duplessis, 2 wins, 2 losses, and that was Izzy and Edmund Shabazian. Bruno Silva is 33, 20, 22-8, 305. Evaluco Thai MMA lost to Gerald Mershard and Alex Pereira. So black belt Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu did well against Alex in grappling, but Alex edged it out and won. So, Brad Tavares has really good wrestling, really good like hands. He's never got to that top 10, but he's fought in some of the greater fighters in those weight classes, but just never got past the hump.
Yeah. Yeah, and his record just kind of goes up and down,
Yeah.
He doesn't have like long streaks ever. And he's an exciting fighter. I thought, to be honest with you, that he would have been cut from the UFC.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, I think the reason why he isn't is because he does bring it. And Dana White and company love to see guys bring it, whether they win or lose. We always kind of laugh and chuckle about Sam Alvey. But he's the perfect example of being able to stay if you're entertaining, because even if you're on the prelims, or not at the top of the card or not fighting a top 10 or top 5 fighter, if you can bring excitement and people chatter about you, you got a job. And I think that's where Tavares kind of fits in that little nook right there. And that's why he's been with I don't know how many years he's been with the UFC or not. But he's kind of one of those perennial, he's almost like a gatekeeper type of a dude, but on the lower rung. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
It's not a gatekeeper for, championship bouts or top 5 bouts, but he's still on these guys coming up. He's still one of those dudes that you got to get past, right?
Right. He started in the Ultimate Fighter Tough, and that was 2010.
Okay, so that's a pretty good run, 13 years.
Yeah.
That's a good run in the fight game. So good on Brad Tavares. So who do you got? Who are you picking on this one?
I'm gonna go with Tavares.
Are you? I'm gonna have to go with Silva then.
Oh, okay.
I like Silva's style, and yeah, that should be a good fight. That should be action-packed fight, though, for sure. All right, we are already at the main fight. Wow, that was fast. We have Sergey Pavlovich versus Curtis Blaydes at heavyweight. And what kind of stats can you share with us on this particular bout?
Sergey's 30, 17-1, 5-fight win streak. He's Eagle MMA. He has wins over Tai Tuivasa, Derek Lewis, Sambo, great Greco-Roman. Curtis Blaydes is 32, 17-3, 405 elevation fight team. 3 wins. Aspinall, was it Christakis is the heavyweight? And Rosenstruck. And then he lost to Derek Lewis. So this is going to be interesting because I think Curtis Blaydes is probably the worst matchup for Jones in that whole weight class because of his wrestling. But I think Jones is Jones, you know what I mean? And Sergey Pavlovich he hit so hard and he just goes right in to pressure and knock these people out. So it's going to be very interesting to see what Curtis Blaydes does. He has to not do what he did against Derek Lewis. Derek Lewis, he was trying to counter wrestle, and Derek Lewis knocked him out. He needs to he needs to what is it, like, get the distance with his jab and then go down, take him down. But Sergey has pretty good wrestling. I mean, he wrestles and hurts these other people. So it's going to be very, very interesting what happens in the first round. I think this goes all 5 rounds, but I think that Curtis Blaydes smothers him and wrestles him the whole fight. I think Sergey's good, but I think there's levels to this.
Okay. Well, I think if it does go 5 rounds, we know Blaydes has the cardio. I don't know about Sergey though. I've never, you know, I don't. Has he been in a 5 round fight?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't think so. So that's kind of a different animal in and of itself. I predict that if Sergey's going to win this fight, he's going to have to do it in the first couple of rounds, for sure. But I think he can do it too. You know, Curtis Blaydes, when he lost to Derek Lewis, that was the uppercut from hell.
Yeah.
Ducked right into it, man. It was almost like Max Holloway, you know, that dude running into his knee, like, not Holloway. Who was it that got knocked out by the knee in that last card? Oh gosh, it just left me. Anyway, I misquoted that. But you know, Curtis Blaydes, he's also that dude that just can't get over that hump. You know,
Yeah.
He gets, you know, he can't get over that hump, and I think Sergey is too hungry. I think Curtis Blaydes, he definitely has a big chip on his shoulder. You know, he's trying to mellow out a little bit, because he knows that's not helping his cause. You know,
Yeah.
for getting that fight for the gold. I think, in my opinion, Curtis Blaydes has to submit or knock out Sergey to get up and challenge for that gold pretty quick. And I think if Sergey beats Curtis Blaydes, he's going to be up there. He's not going to have to work as hard. I don't want to say work as hard. They work very hard, I'm sure, but he's not going to have as many fights to get to where Curtis Blaydes wants to be, and that's fighting for that gold strap. But I think if he beats Blaydes, he's going to, like you said, there's levels. So if he beats Blaydes, who's probably the best wrestler heavyweight, bar none, then that's saying a lot, you know. And he can do it because Blaydes, first of all, he's been knocked out before. Okay.
Yeah.
And the last, 2 or 3 guys Pavlovich fought, he's finished them. I mean, he made mincemeat out of Tuivasa. Dude, I felt bad for him. His face looked like, you know, it looked like something I would prepare for my barbecue, making a patty.
Jeez.
But he jacked him up, you know, and I think, you know, I think that kind of snatched part of Tuivasa's soul too, because he's gotten beat up like that twice, you know, by Don and Pavlovich, man. And you can't take beatings like that and be the same, you know. And Tuivasa is one of those dudes. He's a superstar, even though he's not winning the big fights.
Yeah, his personality.
Yeah, he's great. You know, he's fantastic. He's lots of fun to watch. Plus, he's daring. You know, he takes a lot of chances, and when he gets hurt, he's throwing bombs back. He's going to knock you out, and we've seen that in some of his fights. Now, Curtis Blaydes, in your opinion, let me ask you this: if he gets hurt, it's usually been pretty fast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like with if he gets hurt, it usually ends fast, as opposed to, you know, what is his heart like? Like, how have you seen in his previous fights that heart he has of pushing through adversity? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that this is probably his chance. His only chance at really getting at the title. I mean, everything's mixed up. No, he has a better chance in other weight classes because there's nobody keeps the belt, so it's all matchups. But yeah, if things don't go right as far as him wrestling and grappling, he kind of doesn't know what to do with his hands. You know, his wrestling sets up everything, and he's not like, if he can't do wrestling, he can't set stuff up with his hands to get back into wrestling, and that's the big problem.
Yeah. Yep. I do have to admit, though, in his defense, is that he has improved his striking. From where he was. I think that he's improved a little bit, for sure. So let's pick. Who do you got? Did you say Blaydes?
I got Blaydes. Hold on 1 second.
Sure.
Yeah, I have Curtis Blaydes.
Okay. I'm going to go with Pavlovich.
I think
So one of us is going to be a big loser and a big winner next week, because we split it except for one or two fights. All right, let's talk about first of all, before we talk about the Holloway Allen fight, let's talk about the Barbosa Quarantillo fight. What did you think about that fight?
I think Barbosa still has it. I put him out to pasture. I was like,
I picked him, right?
No, we both picked Billy Quarantillo.
We did? Oh, wow.
Yeah, both of us didn't think, I guess, he wasn't good. No, I think Edson Barbosa is really good. I like him. He's still got it. He's ranked 14th, so I mean, it's a hard weight class, though.
Well, this is the fight I was talking about the knee.
Okay? Oh, okay, yeah.
He's the one that knocked Billy out with that knee, man. But when he walked into the ring, Barbosa, I'm like, oh, this dude is serious, because he was as ripped as I have ever seen him, man. I mean, he looked like he was in 100% shape, 1,000% shape. Billy is one tough kid, man. He's a tough kid. He belonged in that spot. Was it a co-main event?
Yes.
I can't remember if it was a co-main event or not, but
yeah, it was the co-main event.
Yeah, so they both belong in that spot. Super competitive fight, quick, but it was very good. It was a good fight. And Billy, man, I like his style too. But Barbosa, he's back. He's back, and I thought he was like left the UFC. It's crazy. All right, let's touch on Max Holloway and Arnold Allen, and then we'll talk about the upcoming cards, touch base on those a little bit. So what did you think about that fight?
I think Max Holloway's the best, second best, right? As far as in this weight class. And, Arnold Allen's good, and Arnold Allen will have a chance at the title, but not right now. Not until, I guess, Alex and Max figure out if Alex wants to go up. If Max wants, one of them has to go up, because I mean, I think Max is kind of small for lightweight. I think Alex is also small, but small as far as height. I think it won't be as hard. I mean, Max Holloway has got to put on weight. He's got to do like John Jones, take like a year off and gain some weight.
Yeah. Well, I don't think Max has the power to move up, the power that those dudes are going to bring. I don't think he's got the speed and all that beautiful stuff, but I don't think he has the power. And that's the difference. Volkanovski has that power too. He's shorter, but he's got the power. And that's the thing that would enable him to, like you said, successfully make a run, which he almost did. And a lot of people thought he won that fight as well.
I did. I would love to see him there in just a lot of those matchups and those fights. I'd love to see him versus Chandler.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, that'd be a cool fight. That'd be a cool fight. Arnold Allen, I think, Dana had some good things to say about him, so that's always a positive after the fight. But I think it's going to be a few more fights now for him. Whereas they're like, okay, what do we do with Max? What do we do with Max? Now here's the deal. So Max already beat Yair, correct? So if Yair beats Volkanovski, then even though it was a tough fight for Max and Yair, then you can see Max fighting for that gold again pretty quick.
Yeah, but if Yair wins, it'll be a rematch. Even though I hate to say it, it'll be a rematch between Alex, and we'll be waiting a whole year.
Here's why I don't think it will be, is because I think Volkanovski wants to go up and avenge the loss to Islam. So I think if he loses to Yair, he'll move up to try and get that belt, because he can always come back down and fight for that belt again. So he's got way more options. Holloway does. He's got all kinds of options because of his length and reign as the king. You know.
What do you think about him calling out the Korean Zombie?
I loved it because well, somebody asked him that, right? They said, "Hey, you know," and he said, "I'd love that fight because we were supposed to fight a long time ago, and the Zombie has already accepted." But I don't think, you know, they're gonna wait to see what happens with Yair, and because that's going to be good, because I bet you dollars to donuts if Yair beats Volkanovski, he's going to call out Holloway. He's going to say, he's like, you beat me once, but barely. Come on, let's do this. And Holloway's going to accept, and there you go. And they can build it. They're not going to really build it as a grudge match, but they'll build it, you know, and it'll be really good. So,
what do you think of those fake retirements?
Yeah, Dana White's putting the kibosh on that.
He was super
He was pissed because like two fighters did that, taking off their gloves and stuff.
Well, Clay Guida did it after the other guy did it. So it was like, what are you doing? And then he's wishing somebody a birthday. Like,
yeah, did you see at the end, DC ripped the mic and said, okay, you're done. Get out of here. You know, Guida's like still trying to talk. But Guida, you know, I think Clay Guida's got to retire, dude. You know, he moves around and he bounces around. He's got great cardio, but he has no power in his punches. And I watched that fight closely because I was rooting for him, you know. But he was throwing some big wide hooks, and they were missing like by a mile, you know. And he looked fast and he looked fresh, and he's you know, that's how he fights and stuff. But the other dude was Garcia. He just plotted forward, and he was just picking him apart. And I'm thinking, okay, you know, at some point Guida's got to they got to move him past. I don't know how popular he is, you know, with followers and stuff like that. But I just kind of thought to myself, you know, that needs to be. He should have retired at the end of that, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, he has a cool gig. Like, you know, him and Chad Mendes are like they have like a fishing guide thing that they do, and then they have a show that they do together. I mean, he's got some stuff, you know, fighting. Yeah. You should probably call it a day.
I think so, because you know, you just because you bounce around, if you can't land good shots, you know, and you're taking hits, I don't know. I wasn't super impressed. You know, he went the distance and this and that, but he was missing a lot of shots, you know, and you have to look at that. Okay, so upcoming we have Song Yadong versus Simon. That's a good fight right there. We've got Sterling versus Cejudo. What's your thoughts on that one? You're predicting upset, aren't you?
What, Cejudo? No, I'm predicting Sterling. I think Sterling is going to be the upset. I think people are already counting Cejudo's chickens already. They're you know what I mean? I think that Cejudo is good, but I think Aljo is really big. But I mean, I've been watching a lot of Cejudo's breakdowns of fights. I think he knows what he needs to do. You know, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to backpack Cejudo because Cejudo's so small, and he's got such great wrestling, and he's constantly working on his wrestling.
Well, you know, and my take on it, and we'll break it down for you guys when the fight comes up, of course. But we're just touching base on upcoming events real quick. But my take is, you know, Sterling looks really, really big, but I don't think he's as strong as he looks. I don't think he's as strong as he looks. Like physically, like you can take somebody and just, you know, lock those hands and just squeeze their rib cage. You know what I mean? Cejudo is different that way. He's pretty dang strong that way.
What do you think they do with the co-main event?
What's the on that one?
Well, because it was supposed to be Dariush versus Oliveira.
Oh, that's right. You want
that fell out. So they're talking. Burns is calling out everybody. He called out Bilal, but Bilal said he wanted it at catch weight, and Burns is like, "No, you need to make weight." He's like, "You just had a fight. You want to make weight?" And I'm on the couch, like, you know. And then he's like, "Okay, Dustin Poirier, let's fight." And Dustin Poirier's like, "Well, they're gonna have to, you know, I'm down. The weight's not a problem. I can make the weight, but I mean, we need to,
yeah,
we need to talk about some big money here." And that's not, well, he's like, "Well, okay." And he's like, "Well, first of all, you're not the one that's going to be, you're not going into your wallet and giving me money.
well,
You got to talk to the bosses." You know what I mean?
but Poirier, he's put himself in a beautiful position, man. He's the guy that everybody's calling out for the money fights. It's no longer Connor anymore. It's Poirier. If you think about it, they all want to fight Poirier, and he's just like you said.
Well, they just said Dariush was like, if I don't get this fight, I should fight for the title. And they're saying number one contender right now is Dustin Poirier. So why would Dustin Poirier want to tarnish that if he is in fact the number one contender and gonna fight Islam in October? I don't know. I mean, Burns has a chance.
I don't think I don't think Poirier will beat Islam.
You don't think so? If you had to pick somebody, who's the matchup that's gonna win? I'd say Gaethje because I like Gaethje, but
Out of who?
out of the, you know, you have Gaethje fighting for the title, you have Poirier. Who else is in that? Well, not Chandler, Oliveira, and Dariush. Who's the best?
Dariush. I got
Dariush.
yeah, for sure. He's the one that can beat him. He's the one that can unseat him. For real. All right, guys, we are running out of time. We made it. All right. Thanks for watching the Knuckle Sandwich MMA. Nando, thanks for the analysis and the breakdown. Now we're going to see who's doing the walk of shame. This week, I want to remind you guys, it was Nando. Yeah. All right, you guys. We'll see you on the flip side. Ciao for now. Bye-bye.